Hi, I'm here from Farberware Cutlery to talk about the most commonly used knives in a cutlery set. We're going to cover the proper way to use these knives, and since each knife has its own specific function, we'll talk about that too. Okay, here we go. Let's start with the knife that is used the most in food prep, the chef knife. It's the workhorse of any cutlery set because it's so versatile. It can be used to chop, mince, slice, and dice. Plus, the side of the blade can also be used to crush garlic cloves. We'll cover all of that in a bit, but first, we need to talk about the proper way to hold a chef knife. It's the single most important factor in using this particular knife. So here's how to do it the right way. Grip the knife at the base of the blade right above the bolster with your thumb and forefinger like this. All right. Then curl your other three fingers around the handle like this. It may look out of the ordinary, but this grip centers the weight of the knife in your hand and gives you extra control over the blade. Those are two critical elements when using a chef knife. Now that we know how to hold the knife, let's talk about how to hold the food you're going to be cutting because that's just as important. Make a claw with the hand you use to hold the food like this. Then place your fingertips on the food to hold it steady while you cut, like this. All right, this claw grip helps protect your fingers from the blade because it exposes your knuckles instead of your fingertips. It's much, much safer. Okay, now for the fun part, how to use it. The best way to cut with the chef knife is to start the cut with the middle of the blade and push down and through the food, ending up by the back of the blade. Here, I'll show you what that looks like. This is sometimes called the rolling technique because it's almost like you're rolling the knife blade through the food. It's a great standard technique you can use for mincing, slicing, and dicing as well. And it works pretty well on all types of food. Another handy function of the chef knife is using the flat side of the blade to crush garlic. It's pretty simple. Place a clove of garlic on the cutting board. Put the flat side of the chef knife on top of the clove with the blade edge facing away from you. Put the heel of your hand on top of the knife over the garlic, then just push down like this. Voila! It's crushed garlic. Okay, let's move on to another knife now. The Santoku knife. This is a unique knife that combines the benefits of a cleaver with the versatility of a chef knife. One of the first things you'll notice about this knife are these rows of evenly spaced vertical indentations running along the length of the blade. They're called cullens, and they're there for a reason. They help reduce friction and food sticking to the side of the knife. This is what makes the Santoku knife ideal for chopping and dicing vegetables. You can also slice with this knife, and the cullens really help out there too. Okay, so remember the grip we used on the chef knife? Well, you use the same grip on the Santoku. Now let's see how to use it. Unlike the rolling technique of the chef knife, the Santoku works best with either an up-down chopping motion or a back and forth sawing motion. Plus, when you're done with all that chopping or dicing, the wide blade works great for scooping up everything into a pot or a bowl. Now that we've seen both the chef and Santoku knives, let's move on to one that's a little bit different, the serrated utility knife. What makes this knife different from just about every other knife in a cutlery set is the type of edge the blade has. Let's take a look at it. Unlike a typical straight edge blade, this knife has a jagged serrated edge. The obvious question here is why? Well, the serrated edge is especially useful for cutting foods that have a hard crust, like bread, or a tough outer skin, like sausages or tomatoes. The teeth on this blade easily pierce the hard outer layer of foods without harming their soft interiors. Normal straight edge blades can't do that. Now let's see it in action. Just use a simple sawing motion to get the job done. You don't need to apply a lot of pressure because the serrated edge does the work for you. All right, let's take a look at the next knife we're going to talk about, the paring knife. This little knife is a vital part of any cutlery set, and next to the chef knife, the one you'll find yourself using most often. Its small blade is very easy to control, making it the perfect knife to use for smaller cutting tasks. So let's talk about the right way to peel fruit using this knife. It's actually pretty easy. Just hold the knife by the handle and put the blade against the fruit. When you make the first cut into the fruit, try to get just under the skin, leaving as much of the meat as possible. Now use your thumb from the hand that's holding the knife to help guide the fruit, like this. And here's the important part. Rotate the fruit against the knife blade. Don't move the knife through the fruit. This way you have much more control over what you're peeling. Just keep moving down the fruit until the skin is completely peeled off. Okay, so there you have it. Just pick up your favorite Farberware knife, start using these techniques, and you'll be slicing and dicing like a pro. Farberware, the most recognized brand in cutlery.